Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is that you are listening to Keeping Shit Real by Jessie Towns. I am your host, Jessie Towns, and welcome to episode 8. Can you even believe it? I so happy you're still listening to me waffle on. I just want to bring that community together online, people all over the world, of just some of the struggles and the absolute batshit craziness that we go through with parents to neurodivergent kids. And I'm going to say this straight up. I am currently sat on my bedroom floor because one of the twins is off sick. And this is something that always kind of cracks me up. And I do understand it, but it's also quite annoying, isn't it? One of the twins, bless him, had really chronic diarrhea. Sorry to go into this, everybody. Really chronic diarrhea on Monday night and on Tuesday, and it's now obviously triggered. He can't go back to school until Monday, and I totally get it. So if we get interrupted by a little voice, I do apologise now, because I am pushed against the time this week because we've obviously been caring for people and there is nobody else to look after them. So yeah, I've not been to work. Everybody's been really sick, myself included. And sometimes when you're a mum, you just have to dig deep, don't you, when you're not well yourself and your kids aren't well. But we're here. I've survived. It's been a very long time. Touch wood again, it doesn't happen again. It's been a very long time, actually, since I've had any sort of sickness and diarrhea bug. So I'm grateful that I've obviously clearly got an immune system of steel. But it's still never nice, is it? When you just want to get into your bed and lay down and go to sleep, but you can't. It's tough shit. God has dealt you a different hand. But this week, I really want to talk about what seems to be a bit of a repetitive pattern, really, regarding people who have absolutely no idea about children that are autistic, neurodivergent, got ADHD, and their opinions and views of how they should be treated, what causes it, and just the general bullshit that seems to come from... Sorry, my microphone just pinged off then. The general bullshit that seems to come from people that have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. And I'm sure we can all remember, well, where do we start first? I think, where do we start first? There's a lot, isn't there? Let's be honest, a lot has happened in the last 6 months across the world when it comes to talking about children that are neurodivergent and other people's batshit crazy opinions that are absolutely not factual. And they bear no resemblance on any sort of factual, weighted medical confirmations. They are not, is that the right word, confirmations? No. Any sort of factual, medical, I can't get my words out today. That's what happens when you're sick. I'm engaged my brain for 3 days. Any sort of medically factually correct documents. So I think let's all start with, the bonkersness that was in the United States of America a couple of months ago. We got told that Tylenol, which is a mild pain relief in the States that they use, and we were being told that Tylenol causes autism. I mean, it's bonkers. So if you're not in the US, Tylenol for us in Europe is also known as paracetamol, and how taking it when you are pregnant causes children to be born with autism. I mean, can we stop with the fucking madness right about now? I mean, this is bonkers, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest, when you're pregnant, the only thing you can take in the UK, and which is recommended by the NHS, a very well sought after medical trust that I'm sure pretty know much what they're talking about, probably better healthcare and medical research than many countries around the world, if not the best. And it's just so disappointing that we are at this point in history. It's 2025 and we're being told that Tylenol, paracetamol causes autism. Now, I'm going to read you the statement that was released by Donald Trump. I mean, what a man Donald Trump is. I mean, he's an absolute psychopath. I mean, anybody who's listening to this who lives in the US, I do feel for you, because you've got a convicted felon as your president for the second time. I mean, I do feel like the world has gone slightly batshit crazy. And the funniest thing is, well, not the funniest thing, if you actually saw that press conference with Donald Trump, he actually can't even say the word of what is in Tylenol. It's called acetaminophen. I say that? I'm up there with Donald Trump with this. Acetaminophen or paracetamol. Yeah, and as we know, it's a widely used drug for taking for mild pain relief, and it's probably the only thing that you are allowed to take when you are pregnant, unless you're seriously poorly and you're obviously seen by a senior consultant. But Donald Trump nuanced his language by saying, "Don't take Tylenol." He repeatedly, in a widely anticipated announcement, said, "Fight like hell not to take it." So, I mean, the crazy thing is, I mean, for starters, the evidence doesn't support any causal links between Tylenol or vaccines, for that matter. Now, let's just go back to the vaccine chat. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of scaremongering. There's a lot of very bad misunderstanding and misrepresentation of vaccines on the internet and the causes that it can, the side effects that it can cause, specifically around children having autism from taking vaccines. And it's just really sad in this day and age that we are still having these conversations. I think Donald Trump's autism and Tylenol, paracetamol press conference was absolutely mind-blowing, and it sent my social media into a absolute downward spiral of just rage, I think is probably more of an appropriate word. But they've done a lot of studies, obviously, regarding women that are pregnant and taking paracetamol and mild forms of pain relief. And it showed that 1.42% of children who were exposed to paracetamol during pregnancy were autistic. So make from that what you want, compared with 1.33% of children who were not exposed. So we are talking minimal percentages here. And it's really sad when we have not a prime minister, because we're not in England, the president of the United States making these statements, which unfortunately there will be people out there that believe him. He is the president of the United States of America. They may have voted for him. They may feel that there is some sort of link between their child, whether or not they're looking for I don't want to say blame, because that is the wrong word. I think if they're looking for answers as to maybe why their child has been born and they are autistic. And I think to blame a mild drug, which, you know, his statement has absolutely no medical backup behind it, it leaves a lot of people feeling very worried. And as you know, if you're listening to this and you've had a baby, it is the only thing that you can take. And sometimes you do need mild pain relief when you're pregnant. So there probably will be thousands of women out there now, because of these statements, that will be too afraid to take mild pain relief, and then may end up in an agonizing pain because they are too frightened. They're worried about the side effects. They're worried about what might happen to their unborn child. And it really is just the absolute fucking pits. And do you know what I was really made me sort of laugh? You know, it's always men. It's always men. And if you're a man and you're listening to this, I'm sorry, I'm not hating on men today. But generally, I would say probably 95% of the time, when we get these ridiculous claims regarding medication and vaccines and autism, that generally it comes from a fucking man. And the last time I checked, men don't carry kids. It's just absolutely bonkers. And the problem with it is, you know, it is a spectrum, which means it includes a really wide variety of characteristics. And, you know, autism varies from one person to another. And if you've met one autistic child, you have met one autistic child. But also, you know, remember, autism is not a learning disability and it's not a mental health condition. But the problem with why I think everybody's trying to work out why are autism rates rising? Why are they so high? But you've got to remember that we saw a kind of eightfold rise in the UK in autism diagnoses between 1998 and 2018. And it's actually, we're better at diagnosing, we're better at recognizing, we're better at observing characteristics, recognizing traits. And that is why there is an increase. There will have been hundreds of thousands of people that are now grown adults. And you're probably listening to this thinking, I am one of them. Same as myself. It wasn't until my neurodivergent children came along 8 years ago, well, probably the last sort of 6 to 7 years, that when I started to see the signs in my 8-year-old twins, that actually I started to question quite a lot of my behaviours and characteristics when I was young, that actually I actually have ADHD myself. Because when I was at school, I'm 45 now, all of my school reports say can't concentrate, can't sit still, always talking, always hyperactive. But actually, the reason why we've got higher diagnosis rates in 2025 is because we've come a very, very long way from 20, 30 years ago, if not 10 years ago. So to have these type of ridiculous and utterly damaging claims and statements from presidents of the United States of America, it kind of puts everything back a couple, 10 to 20 years, I feel. There will be parents out there that are now maybe too afraid to speak out because there's a pandemic of autistic children. There's a pandemic of children with ADHD. Well, there isn't. We are just much better at recognizing, researching, diagnosing. And it's just really, really bonkers that, in Sweden in 2024, they basically analysed and researched 2.5 million babies that were born in Sweden. And it compared autistic children with their siblings to control, for the genetic factors, and found no evidence at all to support a causal link between autism and the use of Tylenol or paracetamol. And it's really sad that we are here. And every single medical practice worldwide, as soon as Donald Trump sort of said this, was like, absolutely not. And then lo and behold, he's done a full circle in the last couple of weeks saying, actually, I think I may have got it wrong. So he's now caused sheer panic and pandemonium for probably a lot of people in the United States to now say, oh, hang on a minute, I think I might have got that wrong. I mean, God bless America. I feel sorry for you having a president like Donald Trump. But anyway, that's a chat for another day. And yeah, these type of conversations regarding vaccines and what, parents don't need to feel any fucking worse when you realise that your child is got autism, is maybe got ADHD. It doesn't matter how much you deep down that you knew that something wasn't quite right. It is still a very, very difficult thing to hear when you are told, or if you receive that letter after countless observations and, pediatrician appointments. When you get that diagnosis, there is always that element of, fuck, is there anything that I could have done? Should I have done this? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But actually, there's absolutely nothing that we can do. And there will be parents out there that feel that there probably is something they could have done and that it is their fault. And I'm here to tell you, it is absolutely not your fault if your child has got ADHD, if they are autistic, if they have got learning difficulties. Yes, it is genetic, but genetics don't mean that you can influence the outcome of it. And I feel like the world's gone slightly batshit crazy and everybody's on the anti sort of autism progression, that we have come a really, really long way. And it's just so, so sad. But anyway, we'll leave Sir Donald Trump there because, well, he's not even a sir, is he? Let's just leave let's leave Don there, the orange lunatic, as I like to call him, because let's be honest, he is absolutely the weirdest colour ever. I mean, he really needs to look at his own skincare regime and his own fake tan, because that shit ain't the right colour for his skin. So, moving on from Donald Trump and his bullshit claims, let's talk about this week in the UK. We have had some more absolute, fucking bonkers claims and statements from a politician by the name of Richard Tice. Now, Richard Tice is a member of Parliament for Reform UK. Now, if you don't know who Reform UK are, and if you're listening to this and you are a part of Reform UK, this probably ain't the right podcast for you. And I'm probably not the right person for you to follow on Instagram, because I couldn't be more anti-Reform UK if I wanted to be. They are just absolutely off their heads. They are dividing our country up. They are causing racial aggravation. But this week, on top of all of that bollocks, Richard Tice made a statement live on national TV, he doesn't give a shit, regarding autism and children with ADHD and the suffocating factors that are an issue in the UK at the moment. So what Richard Tice was doing, he was outlining the Reform UK's Department of Government Efficiency, and he was outlining live on TV, and he, worryingly enough, is the Reform UK's deputy leader. But he was very controversial in saying that kids that wear ear defenders in school are insane, claiming that neurodiverse conditions like ADHD are overdiagnosed. No, they're not overdiagnosed. We've still got fucking hundreds of thousands of kids waiting to be diagnosed because we don't have enough places to get them diagnosed under the Tory government rule for the last 14 years that completely hammered our National Health Service. And he warned that there was a crisis in the special education needs and disabilities system. Yeah, tell us something we don't fucking know, because the governments just keep on taking funding away from local authorities, and teachers are overworked, underpaid, classes sizes are too big, and the thing that actually made me laugh in the batshit craziness of his entire speech, and I have sat and watched it a couple of times, was that if the crisis in the SEND system remains unresolved, that there will be no bins collected. So basically, you're taking money from the public sector and you're comparing our children's importance of diagnosis and being cared and catered for and the SEND system as the fucking rubbish being taken out. I mean, that comparison in itself was so beyond insulting. I nearly smashed my TV up with the remote control. He went on to claim that there's a crisis of overdiagnosis of children. And when they asked him what Reform UK can actually do to kind of help with it, he actually said, and I'm going to quote him, the best thing to do actually is to push almost all of it back to schools. The schools know best, the teachers know best, and stop labelling people. Just say you need a bit of extra support, you might need a bit of extra time. You've got to the mad situation now where children who don't have any form of label are starting to feel left out. They're feeling that, inverted commas, they're the normal minority. It's insane, and it's becoming a sort of school joke. I'll just raise one more point. The sight of children in class wearing ear defenders, I'm sorry, this is just insane. It's got to stop. The teachers want it to stop. Heads want it to stop. It's not the right way forward. I mean, can you fucking believe it? And there was a research done by the County Councils Network and ISOS Partnership Project that SEND debts will reach 17.8 billion by 2029. And that's nearly £1,000 per child and young person in England, and more than council spent on children's social care last year. So, you can't. Richard Tice went on to say that they would go bankrupt as soon as it overrides. And he also went on to, have a dig at the annual reviews of EHCPs, which are obviously a legal binding document, and sets out to support the young people that they are unnecessary and they're costing $2,000 to $4,000 a pop. I mean, he then went on to say it's just not fair, and it's not fair to the children most in need who are not getting the provision they require in the speed that they require it. So to suggest that parents aren't profiting from the education system, that they're spending time and money fighting against a broken SEND system, just goes way beyond the most basic support that any child is legally entitled to at school. And you can't help just think that, well, worryingly, you can't help but worry that the Reform UK might actually get in. I mean, God fucking forbid if we end up with Nigel Farage as our Prime Minister. I think I may have to think about emigrating to another country because I just don't know if I could cope with this. But to go on to say that children, it's insane the amount of children that are wearing ear defenders in class. They're wearing it because there's not sufficient settings for them. So they are being stuck and plonked in mainstream school, which is not the right environment for them. And, oh, sorry, did you just hear that? It was my shoulder click. God, you can tell I'm 45, getting on a bit. And just, these derogatory and insulting comments don't do anybody any favours. I mean, I read some of the Instagram comments on the Reform UK Party's Instagram after Richard Tice's speech, or bullshit chat, should I say, it wasn't really a speech, was uploaded onto their Instagram page. And it's really, really worrying the amount of people that are like, good, these kids, there's too fucking many of them. And I just think like we are basically causing hatred. We're causing conflict. We're causing divide from the people that need it the most. And these are our children. Our children need SEND provisions. We need money because there is not enough settings for them. And it's such a sad state of affairs when, like I said, in 2025, I actually thought that we would have come a lot further by now. We'd be a little bit more inclusive, that we'd be more inclusive, that we would have a better approach for being able to handle these type of, quite frankly, disgraceful accusations, especially from a male politician, which I find, like I said a minute ago, I find that absolutely bonkers. It's always men, isn't it? It's always men. It's always them just having a stab in the dark. Is that the right saying? And they're just constantly chatting shit. And it's just, I just really, really feel that we have done so much work constantly advocating, going to demonstrations, batting back to everything that we fought for, pushing back to local authorities. And now we're getting the Reform UK's deputy leader coming out with this bollocks. It's a really, really sad state of affairs, I think, for everybody at the moment. And I feel for everybody. I know the world has been quite a scary place for the last couple of years. There's been a lot going on. But I think as adults and as parents, we can cope with that because, that's what we do. But I think when you start bringing in accusations of that you are responsible for causing your child to be autistic, and that actually we don't really care that your kid's wearing ear defenders because it's just insane, and that parents are pissing money up the wall because they're, saying that their kids need this support. Our children need support. And they're entitled to support. And quite rightfully, they should be given support. They are fucking children. And yeah, that is my rant for today's Keeping Shit Real podcast. And I think I just wanted to keep shit real. I just find it, I don't know about everybody else, but yeah, it's been a heavy, heavy, heavy couple of months, hasn't it? And let's be honest, until these fuckwits are nowhere in power, it will continue, unfortunately. But let's not stop advocating. Let's not stop fighting. Let's not stop our voices being heard, because we will not go down without a battle, and we won't go down quietly. End of. So, What's new this week for me? Obviously, just got over 3 days of sickness and diarrhea. Sorry about that, guys. Keep on saying it again. But if you're listening to this and you have got a child with PDA, please, please, please come and join my PDA Parents Circle. It's £17 a month and it is life-changing. Also, if you want to be a part of the Shelf Help Book Club, it's on my Patreon. All the links in the show notes. And again, as always, if you like what you hear, please download, subscribe, rate and review the pod. It takes a minute to do. You don't even have to write anything. You just click 5 stars. If you ain't clicking 5 stars though, don't bother. No, I'm joking. It really helps with my rankings on all platforms that the podcast is distributed on. But, you know, little old me sitting on my bedroom floor looking at my absolutely shit filthy mirror that is attached to my wardrobe. I'm up against big dogs. You know, every single celebrity seems to have a podcast at the moment. And it's just little old me. Mine's not even recorded. I haven't got time for that. It's about connection. And it really, really, really mean a lot to me if you would download, subscribe, rate and review. Anyway, I'm going to go. My son has been very quiet downstairs. I'm surprised he's not come crashing through the door yet. So I better go and check on him. I can hear him tapping around. So I know that he is probably sat there on his iPad. I bet you. Listen, thanks for listening, guys. I am your host, Jessie Towns. This is Keeping Shit Real and lots of love. And I'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.